Peace was my roommate for 4 years in college, and I called him my best friend. And 9 years after college, I was brushing my teeth next to my wife, and my phone dinged, and I learned that he died violently, pointlessly, in a drug-related murder. You know, the funeral was 400 people from all over the world in downtown Newark mourning his death. But outside that church, it seemed like a lot of people were almost eagerly condemning him as a petty street thug or a cliche of squandered potential. And potential was certainly squandered, there's no doubt about that. But I knew he wasn't a thug. And, you know, in the meantime, there were just a lot of people, friends of ours, wondering why. And you know, that was how it started. No, we just started to all see how compartmentalized his life was. You know, and people who saw him every day were realizing that maybe they didn't in the end know him all that well. Rob grew up in a hard and complicated situation, with his mother working very hard in hospital kitchens. His father was in jail for murder, and he earned admission to Yale the hard way. And yeah, the first time I sat down with his mother, she said that her lone consolation after losing her son was that she knew her son had influenced a lot of people. So I think it was just maybe the hope that he could continue to influence people for the better. He was really good at that. I was in a neighborhood where I wasn't necessarily welcome, where I was an outsider, which, you know, that's what a lot of journalists spend their lives doing. But surprisingly, I found that any of those walls tended to come down pretty fast in almost all cases, and I think that was due to the commonality of caring about Rob Peace. You could say a guy who decides to deal drugs deserves no sympathy, or you could say that a Yale graduate who felt he had to sell drugs in order to succeed, and we're talking about a drug that is now legal in, you know, upwards of 20 states. You know, if you don't want to give him your sympathy, then at least you could give him some thought. And, you know, there's just this gray area in between the two extremes always, and that's what Rob referred to his drug dealing. He called it his gray area. He believed every successful politician or businessman or real estate tycoon had a gray area, or more than one. And you know, if you read the papers and you look around, it's hard to refute that notion, especially from the perspective of a fatherless boy from Orange, New Jersey.